Good afternoon and welcome everybody. How are we all? Feeling the day one shop talk energy? Yeah? Cool. So thanks for joining us. In the next 10 minutes, we're going to have a deep dive into how Gymshark built a trusted foundation of measurement with Phosphor, from which they were able to deploy signals to media buying automation with Smartly. The result, incremental growth at scale. So we're going to dive into all of that. Before we do that, let me introduce myself. I'm Dom Devlin, Chief Product Officer at Phosphor. So at Phosphor, we've built the most complete measurement operating system for online retail. We don't just measure incrementality, we deliver incremental results to our clients every day through automation. I'll hand off to Gia to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Gia Marquez. I am a commercial lead at Smartly, and we are an AI-powered global advertising technology platform whose mission is to really transform that advertising experience for brands and their consumers by combining creative, media, and intelligence all into one unified platform.
Hi, everyone. I'm Daniel, Head of Digital Marketing at Gymshark, and our mission is to make the best gym clothing in the world.
Thank you, guys. So I'm sure all the marketers in the room were feeling this every day. The expectation to do more with less. So you've got all these different channels, ads, and tools that you've got to make investment decisions on with less budget, fewer resources, and some trading headwinds given everything that's going on in the world. And I'm sure that you, like me, are feeling the pressure from the exec team to be driving adoption of AI to do things more efficiently all the time. But there's an inherent tension in that because you're spending tens to hundreds of $1,000s every day. It's a significant amount of money to give over to an algorithm without building a foundation of trust. So that's what we're going to dive into today. And we're going to talk about 3 questions that you should be clear that you have good answers to before you do that from all of our different areas of expertise. So I'm going to kick us off speaking to the measurement question. How can you ensure that you have this complete coverage, that you're sure about your measurement foundation before you start automation? So first off, it's about that word, coverage. Do you have full funnel measurement? Are you confident that you're measuring clicks, impressions, awareness, consideration, conversion? Because last click will not give you that. Ad platform data, even multi-touch attribution is going to struggle to get a really good view across the whole funnel, which is why MMMs have gotten such traction over the last couple of years, like Phosphor. Secondly, marketplaces. You're trying to meet your customers where they are. And very often that's not D2C. It's Amazon, it's TikTok Shop, it's Walmart. And Amazon, by the way, is 40% of US e-commerce sales last year. That's roughly $2 billion a day in revenue on Amazon. So let that sink in. And think about, if you're not accounting for the sales and revenue for marketplaces, it's a huge amount of money that you're leaving on the table that's not going to be reflected in channel ROAS by looking at D2C only. So that's very, very significant, and please pay attention to that. The third dimension is frequency. So traditionally, MMMs have not been able to deliver data at the pace required for fast daily decision making. But that's what automation needs. So if you're on TikTok Shop, you'll know that if anything goes viral, you probably see some spikes on Amazon sales. So you cannot afford to wait weeks or wait for the outcome of a test to be able to tell you that. You need to have daily reactive data to feed automation. Finally, granularity. You buy media at low levels of granularity. Your measurement needs to reflect that. That means campaign level, ad set, ad group, understanding how individual creative is important. So all of these dimensions across coverage, granularity, high frequency are essential to build a trusted measurement foundation for AI. So I'm going to pause there. I'm going to hand over to Dan to speak about how they built that at Gymshark.
So I think the key thing for us in trusting the data was handing over the keys sounds scary, but it also doesn't need to be something that's like a dramatic like changeover, right? So how we approached it at Gymshark was to essentially test it, to start this in smaller regions, so there wasn't a huge risk, and test it out in small regions to really kind of validate the changes that we were making, and that really kind of gave us the trust in those tests, right? So testing was a key part of it to build that trust. I also think AI, there's a lot of noise around AI, but to me, ultimately, that just means using the technology that is now available to us. Phosphor's obviously allowed us to do that, which is amazing. But we were really reliant on Ads Manager, which is a comfortable place to be, but it also means that you might not be making all the right decisions. So I think, moving outside of Ads Manager was an absolutely key thing for us to do, which Phosphor and Smartly enabled us to do. And we're super proud, right? Like the results from the case study that hopefully you'll see in a second kind of show the benefit to this. But we've been working with Phosphor now for 2 or 3 years. And it's been instrumental to how we've changed our approach to measurement and also be more confident in how we implement budget. I think when you're working with a lot of budget, making the right decisions is absolutely key. That testing allowed us to do that.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dan. So I think that's really important. Start small and grow, prove it out in small markets. That allows you to build up to allocate bigger amounts of spend. That's awesome. Thank you. So now, Gia, over to you. So how long does it take to go from insight to action? What's the opportunity cost of not doing that?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. I think, a lot of the brands in this room are facing a similar challenge. And there really is a gap between what your measurement is telling you what is possible and what is actually getting done. And so a lot of this has to do with speed. So turning those insights into action, but it's also very structural. So when you think about it, are you truly thinking about cross-channel outside of planning? Are you optimizing creative outside of just adjusting your media? And are you really leveraging incrementality to go that extra mile? And so when you think about these are not small problems to have or simple problems. And so what you really do here is we are wanting to lean on more quality signals in real time. And that's exactly what Smartly is doing. So what we have focused on is execution at speed while still allowing brands to maintain their transparency and their control. And one thing that we've recently radically changed at Smartly is our ability for our clients to ingest their trusted measurement source, like Phosphor, and be able to apply that across creative, media, and intelligence. And then ultimately, what we're doing is delivering double-digit returns for our customers consistently. And one great example of that is through our XPBA feature. This is our AI-powered cross-channel budget allocation, which Gymshark has used itself. And what we're seeing here is we're taking those real-time signals, we're applying a brand's guardrails, and we are actually automating optimization decisions. And what's happening there is we are reducing your overall manual workload, giving you time back to strategize. And what brands are really using this to leverage and are seeing is a 28% annual lift in ROAS, which has been validated by Ipsos. So it's really not just about incrementality measurement being a part of planning. It's really a part of every stage in that advertising journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That's the way we think about the world as well. It's like closing the loop from insight to action. So hopefully some great insights there. Just to back up with some data in the case study of what happened when we collaborated on this, you can see here that double-digit lift in paid media ROAS cross-channel. So across every major platform that Gymshark was spending in. And we've seen this consistently across many of the brands that we've deployed this solution to. Like every single brand, double-digit lift, cross-channel, cross-market. So that's the power when you take out platform data and put in trusted cross-channel, full-funnel measurement. So just moving on to summarize, because I can see we're a little short of time. So that is what we'd love you to take away from this, is like building that trusted foundation of data that you can automate to remove steps between insight and action. So those 3 pillars that we talked about, complete measurement, trusted science, connected execution. If you don't have any one of those dimensions in place, your AI might be amplifying the wrong signals. So it's a very solvable problem. And hopefully what you've seen today is that happening in action. So one final thought from the panelists to close with. If I go first to Gia, please.
Yeah, I think when you think about combining intelligence and execute that with AI, what you're really going to be fully able to do is personalize at scale. So that's ultimately collapsing that funnel.
Thank you. And Dan, to close off.
Yeah, the main thing I think is data automation is going to be so much more powerful than manual. And I wish we'd done it sooner.
Brilliant. Wish we'd done it sooner. What a great way to end. Thank you, guys. So, last thing from me, please do stop by, come over to our stand at 2480. We've got a benchmarking tool, so you can input what you're doing and see how you stack up against the most successful brands using Phosphor today. So please come over. I'll be there. I'd love to chat to you more. Thank you very much.